The home base debate continues. The debate continues in my mind as I get closer to some negotiations and conversations with the real estate agent for a piece of property, a RV lot, a paved RV lot with full utilities in a community that's listed for $25,000. In addition to buying the lot, I would have to buy an RV, which is going to range on the lowest end for a new one, $10,000 to $15,000. Even used ones are not that cheap if you get them around $10,000 or under for one in decent shape. So at minimum, you're looking around $35,000, maybe up to $40,000 total investment. I'm looking at spending to obtain this home base. And on the scale of looking at that from buying a house, it's a low scale. It's a low cost compared to, I think the average house is around $200,000 in America. And, I had a $250,000 mortgage basically on my house. And so, because for those who don't know, I had my own condo for about 15 years. I sold it a couple years ago. I started living out of my car with the main objective to downsize my life, to relocate to Florida and to live a more simple life, all those things. And so I living down in Florida now and looking to set some roots. And so in my mind, this is the debate process. I go, Sam, for $35,000 to $40,000, the total cost of this home base, if I include everything, the land and the RV, that's at least 5 years worth of campground fees if I stayed at a campground every single night for the entire 5 years. And even right now, I don't do that because I enjoy a level of mixing it up. I enjoy going to different areas within the state because Florida is so big. Florida has so many state parks. It does make it very possible if you're willing to spend money in gas, if you're willing to move around, if you have the ability to move around with your job, and you have the mental wherewithal to do it. Because there's even a lot of free camping, whether it's one-day camping in an area or whatever. But you have to be willing to do a little bit of work. You got to research it, you got to move, and you got to have the mental tenacity to say, all right, I'm comfortable being in this one town because I've been here for a couple of days. Now I have to build up enough mental capacity, enough mental strength to say, all right, I'm going to totally change my routines as far as the stores I go to, the areas I know, the roads I know. And that takes a little bit of a mental, it definitely takes a healthy mental mind that's willing to adapt. Because change, human nature, the human mind wants to get into a comfortable pattern and routine. And there's benefit there. And every time you change your town, every time you change your campsite, every time you change locations, you put a demand on your mind to adapt. And a lot of people don't want that demand. And it's understandable because there's a level of mental pain in one sense that you go through to push yourself to adapt to a new surrounding. And so having a home base kind of alleviates some mental burden. It adds a cost, and it will also add a burden on the back end because for me, what I found with my personality is it does become a little bit of a burden to see the same thing every day, to wake up in the same location, to look at the same neighbors, to go to the same stores, to become like the guy Joe at Dunkin' Donuts that every day at 6 a.m. Joe comes to Dunkin' Donuts, he orders a coffee and a bagel, and then he's off, But everyone knows Joe because he comes in at the coffee shop the same time, he orders the same thing, he says, hey, how you doing, the same way, and that makes me want to throw up. I like a little variety. But how much variety do I like? Because once you experience the beautiful palm trees and beautiful areas of Florida, I mean, there's a lot to explore because it's a huge state, but there's also some areas that I really like. So, and again, relatively speaking, the home base is a low cost, so I could justify being away from it for a few days. Some people, I think my great viewer Gilbert said last night on the live feed, I go live every night on YouTube, is he said, Sam, Are you worried about the magnet effect? The magnet effect is you have a home base, whether it's a house or a piece of land, and you leave it. And even though you are free to be away from your home base as long as you want, there's something in your mind pulling you back like a magnet to that one piece of land because you feel obligated to go there, even if you have no mortgage on it. Because you're always going to have taxes. You're always going to have homeowner association fees if your community has it. You're always going to have a utility bill. So financially, there's always a magnet pulling you back. But even if it was only a few $100s a month for taxes and HOAs and utilities, even if it's not financial, there's a mental. And that's what I've learned in this journey. Yes, living cheap is inspiring. Yes, it's nice to have all your financial resources as much as possible allocated towards you so you can do more things. But beyond the financial, that's part of it. But beyond that then becomes the mental. If you have a personality where you like to be totally free of commitments, there is a mental freedom and a joy of not having to go back to anything if you never want to again. And I do like that. I do like that. And the magnet, no matter how I say it, I have to be fair, I have to be honest. No matter how I phrase it, once I commit to a piece of property, there's a level of a magnet. There's something pulling me back in my mind, and there's no escaping that. And to get rid of that takes a lot of work. Even if you can sell a property, and I went through that selling a property, it's not just like ending a relationship. You don't just like say you want to end a relationship with somebody. You don't just call them and say, I never want to speak to you again. And then that's it. Now you can do that. I did that a couple times. I changed my numbers, total disaster. But it takes a while to fully get through that. And that's in my mind. I debate myself now. Okay. I go back and forth. Now I'm sharing this with you as a sharing. Don't take this burden on you. Don't take this burden on you. Don't take this burden on you. What do I mean by that? So what I've also learned in life is if you're debating something too long, if you're indecisive too long, as you share that puts a burden on everyone listening to you. Because why? Because everyone already knows decisions is hard. So they're struggling with their own decisions. The last thing they want is somebody else struggling with their own decisions to share that with them, because then it's too much of a burden for them. That's why people, sometimes with leaders, they're like strong, decisive, even if the guy's wrong as hell, or the girl. Why? Because they say, look, at least somebody's making decisions, because I can't even make a decision for my own life. So I'm sharing this video not to try to help, not to try to make you make the decision for me, because I'm strong. By the grace of God, I'm strong enough to live my own life. Okay. I value the opinions and I ask for opinions at times, but I want to be very clear. I'm making this video not to put a burden on you. You got to be careful here now. This is a video just to share, because this is what you're going to go through if you ever experience it. And this is just a fun video for me to document my thoughts, to give you insight of how I go back and forth. Is this thing really worth it? Is a home base really worth it? There's pros and cons. There's nothing in life with all pros, no cons. I am living now out of my car, out of my Jeep Renegade, as free as possible, as simple as possible. And to get to this point was very hard. And to get back to this point, I know, would not be easy. It would be easier to sell just a raw piece of, just a raw lot, an RV lot, rather than a house where you have to, go through home inspections. I went through that. You sell a house, you got to go through home inspections, you got to go through certificate of occupation, But I'm buying a piece of property that's not located in a metropolitan area with a great school system, so it may not be easy to liquidate. Everything has pros and cons. The debate continues in my mind, but I'm thankful. This is what I want to really bring home to you, is that I'm living my dream now. Every day I wake up, I try to work out, I go for a walk, I go on the beach, I live my dream. I don't wait to the end of this decision-making process to enjoy my journey. I'm conscious of living with urgency, not just buying something with urgency, because again, I know a purchase will not change my life. I will change my life through the foundational things of self-care, mind, body, and soul. Florida didn't change my life. It made my life better. In my opinion, I think it did. But I already put in the work, mind, body, and soul, of taking care of myself well. And everything else can complement your life, but only you can change your life. An acquisition of a piece of RV or property will not change your life. Live your dream today and take care of yourself well, and the decision will come to you.